Hello students, please tell me if I'm audible. Am I audible? Am I audible students? Okay, I guess we have waited enough for students. Now we're going to start our lesson. In the previous session, we have done forms of organizations and how to choose which form of organization is best for our business. And today we're going to do public enterprises, unit number 7 and unit number 8. Basically, we're going to complete this block in today's session. So let's start without any delay. So, what do you mean by public enterprise? As the name says, what's the thought that came in your mind after listening the public enterprises? Anyone? Alita, would you like to explain what a public enterprise is in a raw language?
Hello, madam. Uh, I'm
Yes.
not really sure, but let me
It's
give
okay.
it a
Just
try.
try it. Yeah, just try it.
Okay. Uh, these are enterprises which provide product or goods and services for the public.
Yes. Yes, every organization provide goods and services to the public, and public enterprises also provide goods and services to public. So somehow it is correct, but not fully. So basically, what a public enterprises are, the enterprises or organization which are owned by government. Okay, which are owned by a government. And in the case of government, here the name says public because public have chosen the government, and these government are running our organization for the public and also providing goods and services to the public. So that is what public enterprises are, and that government can be central government, state government, or district government. Okay, so basically the organization which is owned by the government of a country is known as public enterprises. Is the meaning clear to you guys?
Yes, ma, it's clear.
Okay, and they provide goods and services, they provide goods and services to the public, and in return of providing the goods and services to public, they earn a revenue. Okay, they also earn a revenue. They are not doing it for charity, they earn a revenue from this. Now we have three subsections of public enterprises. First one is departmental organization, second one is public corporation or statutory corporation, the third one is government company. But before going to this, we need to know more about public enterprises. So here we go. Yes. Start reading from here. Public enterprise as a business entity refers to any industrial or commercial undertaking which is owned and managed by the central, state, or local government, and of which the output is marked not supplied free, means they are generating a revenue out of it. Okay, they are not doing it for free. They are not doing a charity. Government is not doing a charity here. They are just doing a business. Thus, public enterprises include manufacturing, trading, as well as service organization, which are essentially public enterprises consist of nationalized private organization as well as new enterprises promoted under government ownership and control. There are some examples like Life Insurance Corporation (LIC). LIC in India is an example of public enterprises. Indian Airlines Corporation, Coal India Limited. Okay, Coal India Limited. So these are the examples of public enterprises established in India. Now, for the public enterprises, we have uh, we have some schemes. Our government have introduced some schemes for. Okay, let me reconnect my AirPods. Just wait a minute. Hello, hello. Am I audible now? Is my voice breaking
Yes,
or not?
yes, you are. You, you are not.
My voice, my voice is clear now.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it's clear. We're able to get you.
Okay, okay. So, our government have initiated some schemes for the public sector's enterprises, and the first one is Maharatna scheme. Maharatna scheme. The Maharatna scheme was initiated in the year 2010. The main objective of this scheme was to empower mega central public sectors enterprises to expand their operations and emerge as global giants. These eight Maharatna central public sectors enterprises are Coal India Limited, Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited, GAIL India Limited, Indian Oil Corporation Limited, and so many. Now, the Navratna scheme, you just need to read these schemes and know the objective of this scheme, okay, and the year they were initiated. Navratna scheme, the scheme initiated in the year 1997, the main objective of this scheme was to identify central public sector enterprise. To identify central public sector enterprises that had comparative advantages and to support them in their drive to become a global giants. In this scheme, the board have been provided more powers in the area of capital expenditure, investment in joint ventures, subsidiaries, mergers and acquisitions, human resources and management, and all these sectors. Now, the Navratna's enterprises are Bharat Electronics Limited, Container Corporation of India Limited, Engineers India Limited, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited. These are the names of enterprises which were involved in Navratna schemes. And in the same year, the year of Navratna scheme in 1997, one more scheme was initiated, and that scheme was Mini Ratna scheme. The government of India has provided more autonomy and delegation of financial powers to mini Ratna enterprises to make them efficient and competitive to make efficient and competitive. Now we have 74 mini Ratna central public sector enterprises. As the name says, mini means the small organizations. And in Navratna enterprises, we have big nine organizations of India, which comes under the government. Okay, the public enterprises, and these are the names of mini Ratna schemes enterprises like Airport Authority of India and Blamer and Lauren Co Limited, Bharat Cooking Co Limited, Bharat Dynamics Limited, and etc. Just like the investment of public sector enterprises, we have disinvestment of public sector enterprises as well. We have disinvestment of public sector enterprises as well. So, what is the disinvestment of public sector enterprises? Disinvestment is the action of an organization or government selling or liquidating an asset of subsidiaries. Suppose a government have the shares in a company, 51% shares, or suppose it have 70% shares in a company. Government have 70% share in an enterprise. Okay, that enterprise would be considered into public enterprise. It's a part of public enterprise, but now government want to sell the assets. Okay, now government want to sell this company or this enterprises. What it would do, they will sell their shares. Government will sell their shares from the company. And if government want to be a part of the enterprise or want a hold of the enterprise, then government can sell the shares of 19%, because being the part of an enterprises, government need to have 51% share in an organization. Government needs to have 51% share in an organization, so that that organization can be called a public enterprises. Okay. Now, public sector undertakings are the wealth of the nation, and to ensure this wealth rests in the hand of the people, promote public ownership of central public sector enterprises. While pursuing disinvestment through minority stake sales is listed CPSC, the government will retain majority shareholding. That is at least 51% of shareholding and management control of public sector undertakings. Okay, now let's discuss the difference between public enterprise and the private enterprise.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
I have a question. So you were talking about the shares, the
Disinvestment.
government being the shareholders. Yeah. So
Yes.
you said that it will be called a public enterprise if the government has 51% shares in the company. So if it's less than
Your voice is
51% shares in the
breaking.
company, which means it's.
Yes, yes,
My
51%
question is
shares.
that. Yes, my question is that so if the government has less than 51% shares in the company, it will not be called a public company.
Okay, I got you. Sure. Don't think about the government. Think it like that. If you and your friend started a company, okay, now you have 51% share of that company. You have 51% share of that company, and your friend have 49% of share. Then whose decision will be taken in the company? You will have an upper hand in that company. Okay, it will call as your company more than theirs. Government can have shares less than 50% in a company, but in that case, that company will not be considered as a public enterprises. Okay, to become a public enterprises, it is needed to have at least 51% share of public. Otherwise, it will be considered as a private company only. You got my point?
Yes, I'm clear
I'm
now.
going in.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we will see the difference between the public enterprises and private enterprise. Abdul, can you please turn your camera off? Thank you. Now, the private enterprises, on the other hand, refers to industrial and commercial organization, which are set up under individual or group ownership within the general framework of regularity laws and rules of the government. Now you will be wondering that in a joint stock company you have read that public are purchasing the share of that company, then why don't we call that company a public enterprises? So the answer is that in joint stock company, in joint stock company, in joint stock company, public are getting the ownership by purchasing the share, but not the government. Government are not getting any kind of ownership. That's why it is not considered as a public enterprise. And in public enterprises, government have the shares of a company or enterprises. Either it is fully government or it can be semi governmental. Okay, is the difference clear to you guys? Basically, in the private organization, the ownership remains to the public, either the public or to the person or an individual person or a group of person. But the ownership in public enterprises remains to the government. The hold will be of government in the organization. Is the difference clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. Now, features and objectives of public enterprises. Features and objectives of public enterprises. The first feature is public enterprises are owned and managed by government or agency set up by the government. Either they are owned and managed by the government or the agencies set up by the government. Okay. The whole or major part of capital required for the public enterprises is provided by government. Either the whole capital requirement or the major part of the capital requirement of for the public enterprises is provided by the government only. Okay, it will be taken from the budget of the country. A public enterprises can be organized as a departmental undertaking or as a statutory corporation or as a government company. Okay, uh, you will see all these points like departmental, statutory or government company in next pages. Now, these are governed by the public policies laid down by the government in the public interest and are not entirely guided by motive. They are not entirely guided by profit motive. They are guided by profit motive, but not entirely. Okay, they need to provide service to the public as well. There's one more motive in public enterprises, which is to provide service to the public. Objectives: to achieve rapid economic development through industrial growth in accordance with the development plans, to channelize resources in the best possible manner for economic growth, to ensure balanced regional development of industry and trade, to prevent the growth of monopoly, to prevent the growth of monopoly and concentration of economic power in few private hands, to control the prices of essential consumer goods in the market to prevent public hardship. So these are some objectives of public enterprises. Now we will see the contribution of public enterprises in the market, how they will contribute in a country's economic growth. Public enterprises have a great deal for the country to emerge as an industrial nation. Today, India is considered to be among the industrialized nation of the world. We are also self-reliant in many major areas of industrial production and most items of consumer goods and services. Okay, the first point. Now the second point is they have helped in industrialization and development of backward areas. If we set up any enterprises in backward areas or in rural areas, if government set up their enterprise or organization in rural areas, then it will develop those areas. Okay, it will help in developing those areas. They have also assisted the development of backward communities as well, because the workers will come from these communities only. Either it can be scheduled caste or scheduled tribes. By providing employment opportunities, they are raising the employment opportunities in the nation. Expansion of public enterprises have led to the reduction of income disparities. The reduction of income disparities. As compared to private enterprises, the salary differential between the lowest and the highest paid employees is much less in public enterprises. If a person in India uh, providing its service in government sector, okay, if he or she at a lowest rank, then they might get 25,000 or 30,000 rupees per month, and the person who is at a higher post will get 40,000 or 45,000 rupees per month. So there is not much gap between the lower or the higher post. But in private enterprises, we have seen there is a huge gap between the lowest and highest paid, or lowest or highest post. Okay, one employee is getting 20,000 per month, and the another employee is getting 80,000 per month. So we have see the difference between the income disparities between the private enterprises. The constitutional objective of avoidance of concentration of economic power in few hands has been greatly achieved by the public enterprises. So that's the contribution of public enterprises. Moving further, the problems of public enterprises. What are the problems public enterprises faces or creates? Public enterprises have a great deal for the country. Public enterprises, sorry, even though public enterprises are often registered as joint stock companies like any other private sector companies, their way of working is not fully commercial. Their way of working is not fully commercial. It is so because these enterprises, being close to the government system, often adopt the procedures, practices, and attitudes prevalent in government departments. Sometimes the government employees think they are permanent in their job. Okay, no one is gonna fire them. No one gonna fire them. So sometimes they want to perform their job, so they do. And if they do not want to perform their job, they won't do. So that's how public enterprises fails sometimes. The board of director of public enterprises are not fully professional. Are not fully professional. Often there is no continuity in the job of the top man. There is no continuity in the job of the top man, because the top man gets transfers from one place to another place. Being in central government, we have transfers from one position to another place. Okay, that's why there is no continuity in the job of top men, and public enterprises are not fully professional as well, because we have entered the employees, we have hired the employees for something else, but now we are shifting them in a uh, organization or a business organization, and they are not prepared for business organization. They do not know how to work in an organization for the growth of the organization. There is too much job security at all managerial levels below the board, and this affects the level of performance in public enterprises. As I said, there is too much job securities in the employees, because government employees are not get to fired. Okay, they have a permanent job. The system of reward and punishment in public enterprises more often resembles that in the government than in the similar private enterprises. The worker unions are strong and well organized, so they are able to extract from these enterprises more than the rightful shares. Public enterprises are very large in size as compared to private enterprises, because public enterprises works for the nation mainly, if the enterprise comes under central government. So the public enterprises are very large in size as compared to private enterprises. The complexity of managerial problem increases in geometric progression with increase in size. So these were some problems with public enterprises. I guess public enterprises is clear to you guys. Now we will discuss the three parts of public enterprises. We further divide public enterprises into three parts. First one is departmental organization, second one is statutory organization, and the third one is government company. Okay. Now going with the first one, which is departmental organization. When a public enterprise is organized, financed, and controlled in much the same way as any other government department, it is known as department form of organization. It is known as department form of organization. In India, we have railway department. Okay, we have railway department, all India railway like, and all India radio department. So we have some departments and we have a ministry for them as well. We have railway minister, we have all India radio minister. So these are the departments of government. These are the departments of government. And for these we have their ministers as well, like railway minister, all India radio minister, and etc. So this is what departmental organization is. It directly works under the government. Departmental organization directly works under the government. Departmental form of organization generally is suitable under the following situations. The first one is where the basic purpose of an enterprise is to procure revenue from for the government. Is to procure revenue for the government. Like railway in India procure the revenues for the government. Okay, we have the monopoly government. Our government have a monopoly in India. Do you know what is monopoly?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Monopoly is it that it's singular? Like if it's the government that's in control, then everything goes through the government.
Yeah, there's a government monopoly. Monopoly basically means like holding something. Okay, you are the only king in that market. If some person or an organization is producing a product, and only that organization is producing a product and supplying it, then we will consider that organization have an monopoly in that product. That what a monopoly is. In India, government have a monopoly over the railways. No one can create their own railways. Okay, no one can uh, start the railways or make the railway tracks. Our government have the authority to create railway tracks, to run railways, to introduce new rails or new trains. So our government have monopoly in the railway sector, and through this railway, government earns revenue too, because people buy tickets. People buy tickets. They pay tax for it. So the revenue comes to the government, where the government desire to have firm control over the service sectors, keeping in view of public interest, like posts, telegraph, broadcasting. All these categories have a department in India, where maintenance of secrecy is regarded as the matter of strategic importance, like atomic energy. Not any organization can use atomic energy. Okay, not any organization can produce defense goods. It's banned in India. Only the government authority, only who have the government authority can produce defense goods. Now coming to its features. Overall control rests with minister. As I said, we have a different department for departmental enterprises, and with the department we have a minister too, just like railway minister. Okay. Now, under this form of organization, overall responsibility of management rests with the minister. Under those ministry, the undertaking functions. If something goes wrong with railways, if something goes wrong with railways, then the railway minister is accountable to the parliament. Railway minister is accountable to the parliament and government. Okay, the minister in turn delegates authority downwards to the various level of organization. Thus the line type of authority relation is represented between executive at different levels. In some case, to manage the day-to-day operation, government may appoint a board. Okay, in departmental enterprises or in departmental sectors, government have the lead. Okay, the government have the full control. If we want to introduce something, then we have to take the permission of government only. Okay, if we want a budget, then government will pass the budget for railways. You can't generate money from other enterprises. Now, the example of such boards is Railway Board, Postal Service Board, Telecommunication Board, and etc. Employees are the civil servants. Employees are the civil servants. The employees in the case of departmental organization are civil servants. Okay, we take a common exam for government jobs. For government jobs we take a common exam, and this UPSC, Union Public Service Commission, is responsible for the recruitment of gadget personnel in railways, postal service. So these people do not know how to work for the betterment of railway. For the betterment of railway, they just uh, do work, or they just do work for the intellectually. They just do intellectual work. They do not know how to run a business. They do not have the skills to run a business. The skills are required here. They don't have it fully. Financed through budget appropriation. The finances of a departmental form of organization are not independent of government. They are financed out of the government treasury through the annual budget appropriation, and its revenue are paid into the treasury only. Its revenues are paid into the treasury only. Accounting and auditing system. This form of organization is subject to budget, accounting, and audit control. For this purpose, the undertaking is treated on par with other government organizations like CAG. Sovereign immunity. Being an integral part of the government, it enjoys sovereign immunity of the state. Therefore, it cannot be sued without the consent of government. You can't sue the ministry without the consent of the government. It is departmental organizations are not separate legal entity. They are not separate legal entity. Remember this: departmental organizations are not separate legal entity. Now, the merits of departmental organization: maximum degree of government control. Here, the government control is too much. If government won't provide the funds to the ministry won't run. So, the ministry or the department is completely dependent on the government. This form of organization lends itself to the maximum degree of government control. Therefore, government can meet its social obligation very effectively. Limited scope to misuse public funds. Limited scope to misuse public funds. As you know, departmental undertakings are managed by concerned ministry. Hence, the accountability of the enterprise to Parliament is complete. You have also learned that these undertakings are treated on par with other government departments for purpose of budgeting, accounting, and auditing. Okay, if something goes wrong, then the minister is accountable to the parliament. So it reduces the risk of public funds or the frauds. Government control over economic activities: it provides an opportunity for government to secure absolute control of economic activities. These government can freely use departmental undertakings as instrument of its social and economic policy. Multiplies economic progress. The surplus coming from the departmental undertakings increase the revenue of the government. It will straight go to the government or government treasury. Thus, this surplus can be utilized for the economic progress of the nation and the welfare of the masses. Responsible to Parliament. A departmental enterprise is responsible to Parliament for its day-to-day operation. Even for its day-to-day operation, it is not possible for a departmental enterprise to claim certain privileges from parliamentary scrutiny. Now, example, if the member of parliament asks questions regarding the appointment or dismissal or promotion of a particular employee or regarding a particular sale purchase transaction, it is the matter of day to day operation. Such a question can be allowed to ask of a departmental enterprises but not of a statutory corporation or government company. So the parliament members can ask as many questions as they want. They can raise questions on the department or the departmental minister in the parliament, and departmental minister is bound to answer that. They are accountable to answer to their questions. Coming to the limitations, bureaucracy and red tapeism, like that the staff of these departmental undertakings are civil servants, so it is too close to bureaucratic system of the government where much importance is attached to rules and regulations and precedents for every decision. Means basically it is rigid. You have to follow the rules, you have to go by the books. You can't arrange the funds from somewhere else. You are, because you are accountable to the government, you have to follow the rules. Suffer from political instability. In every 5 year government changes. Okay, we have elections in every 5 year. These undertakings are generally at the mercy of political party which is in power. Sometimes, suppose if one government party is taking decision for departmental organization today, but after some times the government changes, and they just demolish their rule or their bill, what would we do? So it suffers from political instability. Excessive parliamentary control. This faces excessive parliamentary control. Lack of professional expertise. These undertakings, as you know, are managed by civil servants who often lack business acumen. They are selected and trained all together for a different purpose. Rigid adherence to formalities and procedures cause delays in decision making, which is quite opposed to business principles. Absence of competition and profit motive. As in the case of railway, government have the monopoly, so there is no competition in the market. We don't have the trains or the railway track or from different organization. It's just government can decide what's what they will charge for the ticket. Okay, it's the government control. And if there is no competition, then there is no betterment. Departmental undertakings are run with the objective of service model, so the commercial principles which are necessary for their very success are neglected. Financial constraint, because everything we have to go with the parliament. If parliament will provide us funds, then only we can run these departments. Otherwise, we are nothing. Okay, so we have to face financial constraints. Maybe if we are asking for 5,000 crore rupees from the government, and government only gives us 4,000 crore rupees, then this 1,000 crore rupees lacks will our organization will suffer. In this scenario, our organization will suffer. So is departmental organization clear to you guys? If it is clear, then we can move to the public corporation.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. Now we are moving to the public corporation. Public corporation. Public corporation is a corporate body by the parliament or state legislature, as the case may be by special act which defines its power, duties, functions, immunities, and the pattern of management. Now, in this public corporation, our government introduced a bill in the parliament. Okay, government want to if government want to start an organization, or if they have a scheme and they want to start an organization, what would they do? They introduce a bill in the lower house of the parliament. Okay, then it will get passed there, and it will move to the upper house of the parliament. Then it will be passed from there as well. Then the prime minister of our country will sign that bill, and it will become an act or a rule. So by this process, we will constitute a new organization, and it will not be considered it will not work under the government. It will work parallel to the government. Its duties, powers, functions, immunities will be pre-decided, but it won't be controlled by the government or the ministers of the government. So this is what a public corporation is. It will go parallel with the government. It will go parallel with the government. So the public corporation are constituted for any of the following purposes: to transfer the business of nationalized undertaking to the corporation, to facilitate the acquisition of undertaking belonging to an existing company, to promote, develop, operate certain schemes, to extend certain social service and utility service, and to provide for regulation and control of the working and operation of an institution or for other matters connects therefore an incident thereto. Now I will give some examples of public corporation to you guys. First one, there is LIC, life insurance company in India. LIC is the part of public corporation. RBI, Reserve Bank of India, is also the part of public corporation. RBI doesn't work under the government, but it works for the government. Okay, it's a separate, it have separate legal entity, but it will work parallel to the government. They themselves work as a government. Okay, that's the difference between department and public corporation. In department organization, our organization works under the government. Okay, there is full control of government, but in public corporation it doesn't work like this. It works side by side with the government. We have some control of government in these organization as well, but not full control of the government. Now move further. Let's read the features of public corporation. It is created by a special act of legislature. It is created by a special act of legislature. Public corporation is an autonomous corporate body created by a special act of legislature. As the case may be, the act defines the power, duties, privileges, immunities, relationships to the government department, and etc. It is a corporate body. A corporation, like a joint stock company, is a legal entity. It is a legal entity. It can be sued in the court. It means that a corporation is an artificial person which exists in the eye of law. Like a living being, it can enter into contracts and can transact any business under its own name. Okay, owned by the state. It is fully owned by the state and the capital is wholly subscribed by the state. Managed by a board of directors. Now it won't be managed by the ministers. It will be managed by the board of directors, and these board of directors will also be appointed by the government only. Okay, it is managed by a board of directors constituted according to the provision of act. Now we have more than one people in the authority. The members of the board represent various interests and are appointed by the concerned public authority. Concerned public authority. It is answerable to legislature. It is also answerable to legislature. Public corporation is answerable to legislature like parliament or state assembly, which creates it. The way the corporation would be held accountable is mentioned in the Act. Parliament is not expected to interfere in its day to day working. Focus on this point. Parliament is not expected to interfere in its day to day working, but it can discuss matters of policy and overall performance of the corporation sometimes. But Parliament can interfere into day-to-day working activities of departmental organization. But here Parliament or government cannot interfere into day-to-day working of this organization. Now, relation with the government. Even though a statutory corporation, even though a statutory corporation or public corporation is owned by the government, it doesn't operate as a wing or part of the government. It doesn't operate as a wing or the part of the government. The legal relationship and the channel of communication between the government and the corporation are laid down in the act of its incorporation. Whenever we are creating it, then it is already written in the act of its incorporation. Now, for example, the Life Insurance Corporation (LIC), which is a statutory corporation, would be guided on the matters of policy involving public interest as per the direction issued in writing by the central government. It is in writing by the central government. Own staffing system. In departmental organization, government is doing staffing for us. Government is doing staffing for departmental organization. But these these public or statutory corporation have the right for their own staffing. Although corporation is owned and managed by the government, its employees are not government servants. Its employees are not government servants. The employees are recruited, remunerated, and governed by the rules and regulation laid down by the corporation only. That's a major difference. You need to point it down. Financial independence. A major source of autonomy of a statutory corporation is its independence in respect of finance. Unlike departmental form of organization, a public corporation is not subject to budget, accounting and audit control. The corporation shall have its own funds, and all receipts of the corporation shall be credited thereto, and payments shall be made therefrom. Once the funds are given to the corporation, in starting, the government provide funds to the corporation, and once the funds are given to the corporation, it manages them on its own. It doesn't have to go to the parliament. If they are making revenues, if these corporations are making revenues, it won't go to the government treasury. Okay, it will be remained by the corporation only. Merits.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Um, this government, this public corporation,
Yes.
um, is it only, I mean,
You were saying something.
all right, yes, 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 my line is breaking. Um,
If it is
is it
breaking, then
also
you can
public
use
audit?
chat section. If it's
All right, let
breaking,
me
then you
write
can
it.
use chat
Let me
section.
write it.
Okay.
Let me write it.
You write your query, and I'm continuing here. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm continuing here. Merits, initiative and flexibility. Initiative and flexibility. As it is an autonomous corporate body set up under an act of legislature, it manages its affairs independently with its own initiative and flexibility. It is initiative and flexible if we compare it with the departmental organization. It avoids red tapeism because it don't have to follow so much rules and regulation. It is not bounded by the rules and regulations. Easy to raise capital. Public corporation are government owned statutory bodies. They can easily raise required capital on their own whenever needed by floating bonds at relatively lower rates of interest. Like when we purchase shares, okay, we are investing in private companies. We are investing in joint stock company or private companies. But when we purchase bonds, that means we are investing in a public company. We are investing in a public company. Bonds are issued by the government companies. They are issued by the government companies. Protects public interest. As you know, compared to departmental organization, a public corporation is relatively free from political interference, parliamentary inquiry, and departmental checks and control. You know, we are in departmental organization, we have to face uh, the sudden change in the government after 5 years. But now we do not. It will not affect the public organization or the public corporation. It will not affect the statutory or public corporation. Works with service motive. Public corporation avoids the defects of the profiteering, exploitation, illegitimate speculation, etc., which are often associated with private enterprises. A public corporations work primarily with the service motive, and profit earning is the only secondary consideration. Profit motive is the consideration, but a secondary consideration. The first one is service motive. It secures working efficiency. It secures working efficiency. It secures benefit of large scale economies. Now coming to the limitations, it is less autonomy. Compared to the departmental form, public corporation enjoys more autonomy, but in practice, the autonomy of public corporation is closely and systematically controlled by government, even in matters where they are supposed to have freedoms. Like in books, it is written they are flexible, they are free from government. But in real life, when we practice it, we feel they are controlled by the government only. Government have a hold on them. Inflexibility. A public corporation is set up by special act of legislature. It is set up by special act of legislature. It is set up for a special work. Any change in the objective and power of the corporation requires an amendment in the act legislature. If we want to change any rule of the organization, then have to we have to go to the government or legislation, and we have to ask for the amendments. Are the boards of directors private individuals or civil servants? It will be appointed by government only. Okay, it will be appointed by government only, but they are not
Yes,
necessary being a minister. They're not necessary being a minister. Clash amongst divergent interest. It ignores commercial principle. Public corporations do not have to face any competition as well. They are neither guided by profit motive nor haunted by fear of loss. Therefore, there is possibility of ignoring commercial principle in their working. Excessive public accountability. You know that the public corporation works with the service motive rather than the profit motive. This public accountability of the corporation sometimes act as the stumbling block in the operational efficiency of an enterprise. Means they are the foundations for being developed in a business. They are creating a hindrance in a business basically. Now, after public corporation, we are moving to government company. We are moving to government company. So,
excuse me, please.
yes,
In one of the points you raised there, it is said that it is not guided by profit. Profit.
yeah,
Then
here it is. It is
yes,
more guided by service motive than profit motive. I'm not saying it is not guided by profit motive, but it has service motive more than profit motive. It is guided by profit, but service is its primary objective. Okay, service is its primary objective to serve the public, to serve the people of the nation.
clear.
Okay, and for a business it is necessary it only look into the profits. If we want to grow our business, then our focus should on be the profits only, but instead here its main focus is on service rather than the profit. On profit it has secondary motive, it is a secondary motive of this organization. So that's the issue. These kind of business, these kind of enterprises won't go further. Okay, won't grow in market. So that's a drawback. Now, the government company. According to Indian Companies Act, a government company is a company in which 51% or more of the total paid up capital is held by central government or any state government or by many state governments or partly central government or partly by one or more state governments. Basically, if we have 5 states, okay, we have 5 states in a country, and 5 states combinedly have more than 51% of share in an organization, that then that company will be considered as government company. If only one state have more than 51% in an organization, then also it will be considered as government company. Basically, if government by hook or crook have 51% share or more than 51% share in a company, it will be considered as a government company. It will be considered as a government company. Now, coming to this point, government normally establish the company form of organization for the following reason. Public interest. Government sometimes acquires shares of existing private enterprises when they are unprofitable or have become insolvent or are in financial crisis. Suppose a company or an enterprises are in verge of becoming insolvent. Now government, it's a big company, okay, it's a big company and it is connected with huge public, it is connected with huge public. Now what government will do? Government will buy its share. Government will buy its share, and it will make, and government will make is a government company. Okay, so that's what government do. For the public, they will buy the shares of these kind of companies or the existing private enterprises which are unprofitable or on the verge of becoming insolvent. Mixed ownership. Mixed ownership. Sometimes, in order to secure capital, technical know how, expert guidance, etc., the government may be desirous of starting an enterprise in association with private entrepreneurs. In such situations, the government may set up mixed ownership companies. The example of mixed ownership companies are Hindu Machine Tools, Hindustan Shipyard Limited, Heavy Engineering Corporation, Hindustan Cables, etc. It Take it like that. If government have 51% share in a company, then the 49%, the remaining 49% of shares are held by someone private, okay, some individual, also by some private enterprises. Then it will create a mixed ownership. It will create a mixed ownership. Both the private and government will take decision mutually for the company. Industrial promotion. In order to encourage industrial promotion, sometimes government may establish some companies. Such companies are not directly connected with manufacturing activities, but they are expected to bring out commercially feasible projects to eventually established in private as well as public sector. Promotion of trade or commerce. Government may also establish some companies to promote trade or commerce. Lack of incentives. The private entrepreneurs doesn't come forward to establish enterprises because of certain risks such as longer gestation period, heavy investment outlay, lack of profit in initial years of its formation, etc. and etc. In such cases, the government may establish government companies. The government may establish government companies. Now we will see the features of government companies. The first one is, it is created under the Indian Companies Act. It is created under the Indian Companies Act. Government company is a corporate body created under the Indian Companies Act 1956. like any other joint stock company in private sector. Okay, with regard to registration, memorandum of association, articles, meetings, a capital structure, account, audits, etc. It will perform all these process. It is a corporate body, means it is a separate legal entity too. Okay, it works as an artificial person too. Scope for private participation in the capital. A government company may be wholly or partly owned by the government. In any case, the share of government is not less than 51%. In case it is partly owned by the government, the private persons, individuals as well as corporate bodies can also participate in the capital. Means it is giving an opportunity to the public enterprises to work with government, managed by a board of directors. It is managed by a board of directors. All the directors or the majority of them, depending on the extent of private participation, are appointed by the government. Are appointed by the government. Enjoys financial independence. Government company can use or reuse the revenue derived from the sale of its goods and services. Okay, you do not need to put the revenues to the government treasury. If if necessary, it can borrow money from financial institutes and general public too. Independent staffing. The recruitments are in the hands of the company only. Its employees are not civil servant. Its employee are not civil servant. If a company is semi-government, if a company is semi-government, then the workers or the employees of that company can't claim that they are the government employees. So its employees are not civil servants. They are appointed by the company on its own terms and conditions. It regulates its personnel policies according to its article of associations. So they can have more skills person. They can have more skilled person. Independent accounting and auditing system. It is exempted from the accounting and audit laws and procedures applicable to the government department. Its accounting practices are more akin to those commercial enterprises, and its auditor are chartered accountants appointed by the government of advance of CAG. So the government appoints the chartered accountant for the auditing and accounting of these companies. Annual reports. Its annual reports and accounts, along with reports, are to be presented to the legislatures as per the Companies Act. It is written in Companies Act that if we have a company, a government company, then its financial year report or audit reports are to be presented to the legislature. Distinct between government and non-government companies. Basically, the government company or the private company. The paid up capital. In the case of government company, not less than 51%, the paid up share capital is held by central government or by the state government or jointly by the central or one or more than state governments. And in case of non-government companies, major share of paid up capital is held by private individuals. By private individuals. Auditor appointment. In government company, the CAG means the Government of India, Auditor General of India, Comptroller and Auditor General of India will appoint a chartered accountant, okay, for the audit and accounting of the company. But in case of non-government companies or in private companies, the auditor of a non-government company is appointed by the general body of the company. By the general body of the company, they can have their own CA. annual reports. The annual reports are mandatory to be presented to the legislatures in case of government company, but in the case of non-government company or private company, the audit reports are laid before its general body, okay, to the board of directors of the company, to the employees of the company, to the managers, or for the public in case of joint stock company. It is not required to present their um, report or audit reports to the parliament for a private company. Provisions of a Companies Act. Central government has the power to exempt any provision of the Companies Act from applying to a government company except the provision regarding audit. Except the provision regarding audit, they can change in any Companies Act. But central government has nothing to do with regard the provision of Companies Act relating to non-government company or basically the private companies. Merits of government company. It is easy to form. Most of the public enterprises in India are in the form of joint stock companies. The main reason for this is the ease with which the government can form a company. The government can form a company. Whenever the need arises to take up a new activity, the government can float a new company. Okay. Easy to bring changes in constitution. Easy to bring changes in constitution. Government favors this form because it is easy to bring changes in constitution through amendments to articles. Means changes in the constitution of the company only, okay. If they want to change the articles or MOA of a company, then they can easily change it. Facilitates taking over running enterprises. Facilitates taking over running enterprises. This form facilitates taking over a running enterprises by the government after securing a majority interest in the equity of a company. In the equity of a company. For example, after acquiring the equity of the Burma Shell group of companies, the government changed their name to Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited. Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, which now operates as a government company, which now operates as a government company. At first, it was a private company, and the name was Burma Shell Group of Companies. It facilitates private participation. It provides opportunity to private organization to work with the government and to work with the governments side by side. Easy to transfer ownership. Easy to transfer ownership. This form is also helping in disposing of a public enterprise easily. Once the price at which the shares are to be transferred is decided, the transfer of ownership becomes easy by selling the share to the private party. Suppose a government holding 80% share in a company, or we have a fully wholly holded government company, and now it is not working properly and have lacks of funds. Now government, what will government do? It will do disinvestment. It will sell the shares of that company to the private company, to the private individuals, okay. And if they want to control the company, then they, in that case, they only sell 49% of their company till 49% share. More autonomy. It has almost all the advantages available in public corporation form of organization. It has its own charter, autonomy of operations, self-sufficiency in finance, and etc. Flexibility in operations. Flexibility in operations, as it doesn't have too much of government control, no red tape is no bureaucracy, no rules and regulations,
Excuse me.
rigid rules and regulations to be followed here. So it is flexible as compared to departmental and public corporation. A government company can be created without specific approval of parliament. Government interference, trying to connect it.
Okay, ma'am.
I've lost the connection. I'm trying to reconnect it. Is the book presented to you? Is it visible to you guys?
Yes.
Yes, ma.
Okay, okay, okay.
Excuse me, please, before you proceed.
Yes.
Um, w- in a situation where a government has 100% control of a company,
Hmm.
I mean, the staff of that company, do we still call them not a non-civil
That's
servant
also
staff?
considered as a government company. If government have 100% of shares in a company, then in that case as well, it will be considered as a government company.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But the staff of the company, are they still not called civil servant?
Sorry, would you repeat your question?
Yes, what I was asking is, okay, after a company is 100% owned by government, the staff of the company, do we still call them not a non-civil servant staff?
Government. Okay. Okay. This,
What do we call the staff of the company? Civil servant or none?
yeah, they will not be a civil servant. As it is mentioned here, they will not consider a civil servant. No, have a private company. They do not have a private company. Sorry, what I was saying. Yeah, now. So in the staffing case, you were asking if they will be called the civil servants or the government employees. No, in that case as well, they won't be considered as the government employees. They won't be considered as the government employees because the company is working parallelly with the government, but it is not working under the government, not working under the legislature or parliament. So they can have their own employees, they can have their own recruitment process. You got my point, or you need more explanation?
Please explain more, please, ma'am.
See, if we have a company and it have full control of the government, so in that case as well, if it is a government company, in that case as well, it's the company's right. They can have their own recruitment. They are not getting recruitment with the permission of the parliament, with the permission of parliament, with the permission of legislature, with the permission of central government. They can just recruit their staff whenever they want, if they require, and with the skills, whatever skills they want. That's what I'm trying to say. So they won't be considered as civil servant. In that case as well, they won't be considered as civil servants. Only in the case of departmental, in the case of departmental organization, the employees or the staff of departmental organization will be considered as a civil servant or civil staff or the government employees.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. fear of public accountability, the director and chief executives of a government company always have the fear of public accountability. As a result, they may not take the initiative in breaking new ground and in entering into new areas of activities. Public criticism. The performance of a government company is shown in the annual reports of the ministry concerned. These annual reports are placed before the parliament, state legislature, as the case may be. As such, they become the public documents exposing the enterprise to the glare of public criticism. Lack of professional management. As you know, the directors of government company are mostly appointed by the governments. So these enterprises fail to achieve business efficiencies found in similar enterprises in private sector. Now, if you wonder, I have said these employees will not be considered as government employee, but here the talk is of the directors. The director will be chosen by the government, and we have discussed this point before. The directors will be of government, and in the case of 51 or 49%, the directors will be of from both from the government as well as from the private institutions. Okay, but the employees won't be considered as the government employees. We have discussed this thing already because every point we have discussed it in the comparison of all three things. But if you want to take a screenshot, you can take it. You can take a screenshot. It's the difference among these three: departmental organization, public corporation, and government company. I'm giving you 1 minute. You can take screenshot. I think it's enough time. If anyone haven't taken the screenshot yet and wants to take, then you can let me know. Just let me know. Now the unit is completed. Now we come to the international business and multinational corporation, or MNCs, what we say in general. So first, going with international business. What is a international business? See, when international business is a commercial transaction, private and government sales, investment, and transportation that take place between two or more countries. If we are doing business, if we are doing business among two or more than two countries, then it will be considered as a international business. If we are producing goods in our country and selling it in different country, in another country, then it will be considered as international business as well. Like import and export is the part of international business only. Import and export is also the part of international business. So you can read it from here that business as well as related activities carried out between two or more countries is referred to international business. Is referred to international business. International business is a business whose activities are carried out across national borders. If we are selling or purchasing goods or services or any activities beyond the territories of our nation, then it will be considered as international business. It will be considered as international business. All commercial transaction carried out beyond the boundary of the country. The transaction may be in the term of investment, production, trade, management, etc. between two or more countries. See, whatever business we do in our country, whatever trade we do in a country between two peoples, if the peoples are from two different countries and they are doing trade business, then it will be considered as international business. Basically, business between two nations is considered as international business. And it's not only private, government can also do international business. The transaction related to the service and other aids to the trade between two or more countries will be considered as international business as well. Now, coming to the importance of international business, awareness about the different countries of the world. It makes us aware about the different countries of the world. The international business involves business between two or more countries. The business enterprises makes effort to understand all spheres of business operation in other countries. Suppose your country doing business in my country, then that's the opportunity that the people of your country can get to know about us more, and vice versa. The firms try to analyze physical, social, cultural, political, legal, ecological environment, etc. of the foreign country. To set up the business in a country, we need to understand these, like physical, social, cultural, political, legal, ecological environment of that country. And if we are doing trading with another country, and if we are doing business with another country, then we can know about all this stuff of that country. So it making us aware about that country we are doing business with. Facilitates the process of globalization. And before moving further, let me tell you what's the benefit of knowing these things. What's the benefit of knowing these things? Suppose if you are doing business in India, then we follow tradition here. Okay, we celebrate here, we follow tradition here. Then the companies or the firms situated in your country can know that we are really connected to the traditions, and they can do business here in festival seasons, and they can produce goods that will relate to our traditions. So it helps in boosting the business organization. Facilitates the process of globalization. Globalization involves integration of world economy, international business, and related activities like technology, management, investment, production, trade, aids to trade, etc. Facilitate the international operation of business. Diffusion of technology. Technology has been revolutionizing all areas of business activities. The development of new technologies involves huge amount of investment. The large business enterprises may be in position to invest such a huge amount on development of new technology. See, computers are produced in one country. At start, in earlier time, computers was produced in one country, and now almost each and every country use computers and laptops. Then it's the example of international trade or international business. If there were no international business or trade, then we won't be using these smartphones, laptops, computer technologies. That's how technology goes in different to different countries. It's by using international business only. Competition environment. It will help in boosting the competition environment. International business may facilitate development of a competition environment, as we have now the smartphones. Okay, we now have the smartphones. One country have initiated creating the smartphones, and now every country have the smartphones, and almost every country wants to produce their own smartphones. They are trying to come into the competition, so it's boosting the competition. International business is boosting the competition. Harmonious relationship. By trade, we can maintain a harmonious relationship between two or more countries. International business may be major force in linking various countries to each other. It promotes harmonious and cordial relationship among all of them. Better use of countries' resources, better use of country's resources. If we have so much resources, and we do not know how to utilize it, and we are producing enough for our public, and we remain with more raw material or more resources, then we can utilize it by producing it for the different countries as well. We can utilize our resources and can gain from it, can gain profit through it. High rate of economic development. High rate of economic development. International business leads to rapid economic development at higher rate of growth in national income. If we are doing exporting, okay, if we are selling to different country, then it will increase the national income of that country. It will increase the national income of that country who is producing and selling goods to different country. Stability of prices. Whenever the price of some commodity tends to increase in a country, it can increase the level of its import of that commodity to check the rise in the prices. Similarly, when the price of a commodity falls due to a glut in its supply, the trend may be checked by exporting the same. The trend may be checked by exporting the same. If we have so much resources, or we have so much of a product, okay, now the price of that commodity will fall. To maintain the price, we can export the goods to the different country where they are needed, so we can come with a balance of the price of that commodity as well, and we can provide goods to the another country as well and get money against it. Greater availability of goods. The international business provides opportunity to obtain those goods which it cannot produce or cannot produce as cheaply as other countries. Thus a country well-being is determined to great extent by the extent to which it participate in international business. Greater employment opportunities. If we are doing foreign trade, if we are doing foreign trade or foreign countries are investing in our country, then it will increase the employment opportunity, domestic agriculture, and etc. things. Reduction in cost of production. As the capital goods and raw materials are purchased from cheapest source, the overall cost of production goes down, leading to the lowest price. So these were some merits and features of international business. Now coming to the multinational corporation. If you have any question, then you can write it down. If you have any question, you can write it down. I will respond to you guys from there. Please turn off your mics. Now, multinational corporation. Multinational corporations. What are the MNCs? Let me tell you the examples of MNCs first before moving to the definition of MNCs. Just like Starbucks, Pepsi, Coca Cola, Tesla, Samsung, Nestle, TCS. All these are the examples of multinational corporation. You see these companies in your countries too, and I too see these companies in my country. So this is the example of multinational corporation. So we can define from here that a multinational corporation is an organization that owns productive assets in different countries and has common strategy formulation and implementation across borders. It is it is engaged in international product under the common governance of its headquarters. Or if we say in simple words, that you have a company. Okay, you have a company and it's growing or it's developing day by day. Now you want to now you want to set up your company in different country. You want to set up your country in a different country. Then you can do one thing. You can open the branch of your company in that country. Okay, you can open a branch of your company in that country or in different countries, but you can take or your headquarter for the companies remains in your local area only, or in your country where you are living. So it is what multinational companies is. And sometimes it may be called as a transactional corporation as well, like MNC, multinational corporation, or TNC's, transactional corporation. Transnational corporation. I guess MNCs are clear to you guys because it is easy to understand. You have so many examples of MNCs in your country too. You buy products of MNCs in your day-to-day life, like Nestle. You buy chocolates from Nestle, like Maggie. You buy Maggie from Nestle. Do you have Nestle in your country? Maggie noodles. Do you guys have? Are you aware of Nestle? At least answer. Somebody please answer it.
Come again, ma. I didn't get the question.
I am saying, do you guys have Nestle company in your country, or are you guys aware of Maggie, Maggie or Dairy Milk? I guess
Yeah, some of them like daily milk. Yes,
yeah, the chocolates from Nestle, and the
yes,
Maggie.
ma.
It's a form of noodle. So,
Yes, yes,
but
ma.
that's what I'm saying. That you are using MNC's products in your day-to-day life, so you can relate it easily. The headquarters of Nestle is not situated here, but the branches are situated in your countries too. Okay, the multinational corporations are primarily large enterprises. They operate in many countries. They operate in many countries. As the name says, multinational means in different nations we have our corporation or organization. Multinational, countries, different countries or nations we have our organizations in. They operate in many countries. They are primarily managed by their headquarters. Their headquarters can be in USA and they are running in your country as well. Okay. The headquarters is based in one country. The headquarters is based in one country. Other operating facilities are biased in other countries. Are biased in other countries. Now, like if I give you the example, like in Korea, Samsung, Samsung is a company of Korea. The headquarters of Samsungs are situated in Korea only, South Korea. If I say in particularly, it is a South Korean company, but we use the product of Samsung in our country too, because they have their branches here, they have their organization working here too, and the headquarters is in South Korea. So, from the above definitions, we can conclude that the transnational or multinational corporation operates in more than one country. Multinational corporations are linked with the by the ownership. One entity of multinational corporation influence its other entities significantly. Means if there is any change in the process or memorandum of association of the headquarter company, then they have to change their policy in other countries too. They share knowledge, resource, and responsibility with their other entities. Why do firms become multinational? To take the benefits of economies of scale, like everyone wants to globalize. Okay, everyone wants to globalize. Once the operation of the enterprise grows and stabilize, the enterprise may be tempted to explore the new market. The enterprise may realize that there may be more demand of the product or services in foreign market. If you are completing the demands of your product in your domestic market, then you can produce goods for your foreign market too. To protect themselves, every company or business organization wants protection, wants to run in a long way. Okay, so staying in a long run or in a long race, they need to protect themselves. And to protect themselves, they need to go globalization, they need to go globally, they need to start their companies in different countries to tap the growing world market. To tap the growing world market. Response to increased foreign competition. Response to increased foreign competitions. Firms become multinational in response to increased foreign competition and to protect world market shares. To protect world market shares. To reduce costs. Multinational corporation, suppose how it reduce cost. If we are producing goods in our country and selling it to the different countries, then we have to pay a lot more, like the transportations cost and the eliminate cost and the tariffs and etc thing. But if we establish our company branch in different country and it can operate from there only, then we can reduce our cost by that. Okay, we can provide goods to the people of that country in in a reduced cost, in a reduced manner. So to reduce the impact of tariff, to reduce the impact of tariff, to reduce the cost, to take advantages of technological expertise, to take advantages of technological expertise. Suppose there is not advanced technology in your country and your business is growing and doing good in your country, and now you want to set up in a different country, then you can start a business in the country and use their technology, use the technology presented in that country. So you can have this advantage to use technology there. Now, features of multinational corporation. MNCs are normally very large in size. As measured by the value of their total assets, the average MNCs has billions of US dollars at its total sales. At its total sales value, which is often equivalent to more than the national income of one, two, or three large developing countries. Means the companies are earning more from the foreign countries in comparison to the domestic companies. In comparison to the domestic companies. Now, many MNCs depends to a large extent on their foreign scales. There has been a strategy rapidly there has been a strategy for a rapid growth or steady growth of the share of foreign sales to the total sales. MNCs are multi-product enterprises that provide them tremendous market power. Affiliates of the MNCs are responsive to a number of important environment forces, including competitors, customers, suppliers, financial institutions, and governments. So basically, we get a hold in a different country. We get a hold in a different country. We can hit their market. Recent trends in multinational corporation. These are some comparison. We have some comparison in developing countries, multinational corporation of developing countries. The operation of multinational corporation have been growing. The process of globalization has further accelerated the growth of multinational corporation. If you analyze the foreign assets, foreign sales, or foreign employment of 100 largest multinational enterprises of the world, you will be able to comprehend the vast magnitude of operation of multinational enterprises across the world. Let's just read this. Assets sales employees for the year 2016. Now the digits are in billions of dollars, thousands of employees. Okay. The assets, foreign, the value of assets is 8,268. Remember, they are in billions of dollars. In domestic, its value is 4,985. Foreign assets as percentage to the total assets is 62. It is 62. Means 62% of the total assets is foreign assets. Sales. Foreign sales is 4764. Domestic sales is 2700. Now the total sale become 7464. If we add both of these, it will give us the total sales. Now the foreign sales is 64% of total sale. Means there's a huge portion foreign sales or foreign assets are providing to a multinational company. Now, coming to the employment, 9,330 foreign. In domestic, 6,993. And if we do a total of these, then the total becomes 16,323. 16,323. But if we calculate the foreign employment over the total, then it is the 57% of total employment. It is the 57%, the foreign employment is the 57% of the total employment. That's a huge number. So that's the comparison. That's how foreign business or foreign markets gives more to a multinational companies rather than domestic. Issues and controversies of MNCs. Issues and controversies of MNCs. MNC's interest and interest of host countries, especially developing ones, in many areas conflict with each other. MNCs produce products which may not be very essential for the host developing countries, and thus they divert scarce resources away from the production of necessary items. Now, suppose if we are producing goods in a developing countries, and we are producing goods there only in that country, we have opened a branch of our company in a foreign country, and we are using their resources to produce goods and providing it to the public. Now we may create goods that are not very essential for the host country, that are not very essential for them. Then in that case, because our resources are scarce, we are just wasting their resources, we are just wasting their resources. So that's the issue. Now, coming to the second point, MNCs generally dominate high profit oriented consumer sectors, monopolizing profit in these sectors. This is gained through their market power, promotion, brand name, and packages. Why do countries afraid of MNCs? Why do any countries afraid of multinational companies because uh, it dangers the domestic market or the domestic companies. If someone from different countries come to your country and start producing goods and start selling them and gain profits, okay, now what will happen of your own company? What will happen the companies of your own country? So their it reduces their performance. In order to protect market share, MNCs take resources to restrictive business practice. This includes trying to import to specific sources of interest to them, condition imposed on technology transfer, price fixation, restrictions, and restrictive use of brand names. MNCs do not appoint host countries' personnel at higher positions because they want their own employees or employees of their own country on higher position. So that's a drawback. MNC increase their dominant power through mergers and acquisition, thus preventing competition. If they see someone from your own country are increasing or growing, then what would they do? They just merge. They try to merge and acquire that competition. Okay, they just want to eat the competition. Now the Indian perspective of MNCs. It's the last topic of today's class. India followed a restrictive foreign direct investment policy till 1990. Till 1990, we have banned all the foreign countries to invest in our country or to come to our country. Even then, a number of MNCs operated in India either through collaboration with India enterprises taking minority shareholdings or through their own subsidiaries. If someone before 1990 wants to operate in India, wants to start the company in India, then they have to do a collaboration with our Indian government enterprises and take minority shares. We were not giving them the full authority till 1990. But in 1991, our government have introduced LPG. Indian government have introduced LPG, which is liberalization, privatization, and globalization scheme. Liberalization, privatization, and scheme. In this scheme, we have opened the door for the world, for the business world. Since 1991, after the government of India liberalized the foreign direct investment policy, the country has emerged as an important market for serious consideration of MNCs. Large MNCs like Philips, Union, Carbide, Unilever, Boots, Welcome, Coca Cola, Pepsi, IBM, and many others are operating in India, and many of them are diversifying into a large number of consumer industries. They came after 1991 in India. International banks are also showing interest in Indian economy. The free entry of MNCs is, however, still subject to concern in Indian industry and political circle. In Indian industry and political circle, because we are afraid that these MNCs won't dominate in future. They won't dominate our domestic companies. Okay, so it's our constant concern. Indian industry fear that too much of liberalization of FDI policy will adversely affect the operation of domestic enterprises. Yes, because if we talk about the time prior 1947 in India, if we talk about the time prior the 1947 in India, so it was British. We were ruled by British till 1947, 15th August till 1947, and the Britishers here came for the trade. Britishers here first opened a company here, which is East India Company, and later on they dominated us and ruled for almost 200 years in our country. And on 15th August 1947, we got independence here from Britishers. So that's a constant fear of every country that FDI policy will adversely affect the operation of domestic enterprises. So it's not good for a country if they are opening their doors for FDI too much. Okay, we have to allow only a restrictive FDI policy. We have to adopt that only. So it's enough for today. The block is completed. Now, if you have any question, you can ask. Otherwise, we will conclude this class. And one more thing I would like to introduce that in last class, one student asked for the assessment process. For the assessment process. Now I am providing you a email ID for any kind of query. You can contact that email ID. Okay, I'm writing it in the chat section. You can screenshot it from there. Till then, if you have any question related to today class, you can ask. So this is the mail ID. You need to do mail on this ID for any query. You can write it down if you want. And one more thing, please turn on your camera so I can take attendance.
Excuse ma'am, I have a question, please.
Please write it down in chat section and turn on your camera. Turn on your camera at once. The rest, please. Okay, just wait. Let me take attendance. Okay. Thank you. Attendance is done. Now let me check what you have sent. Have been writing emails to this address, but there are no responses. In that case, please keep writing the mails. You will get a response from their side. It's the official mail of the institute. So please write mails to this address. Okay. And some of one of you have one question. If you want to ask, you can ask now. Is OPEC is OPEC also a multinational corporation. OPEC, OPEC petroleum exporting countries. Am I right about this? Yes, it is.
Yeah,
It is
excuse ma'am.
multinational organization.
Yeah, excuse please.
Yes,
I
it's the
mean, can
organization of South. Yes, yes, yes.
yes, can two countries, when the two countries are into business,
Okay.
can we call that a multinational corporation?
We will call it a international business
Okay.
because they are trading. There is a trading between two nations. Then we can call it international business.
All right.
If we have to use multi, then there is must that two or more than two countries are involved in it. Okay, two or more than two countries are involved in it. In multinational means different nations in more nations. Am I clear? Any further questions? Otherwise, we will conclude this class. I guess.
Hold on, bye.
Okay. Bye bye. I'm concluding this
Bye.
class. Bye. Keep studying. Have you downloaded
Okay.
the book? Have you downloaded the book yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm, yeah.